Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. Appreciate you coming out. You remember this Murray? I got it over the weekend. Basically, it was a trade-in, but I got my money back. I gave the gentleman a gas can. I had initially told him $10 for this unit. I believe it's a 2013. We had stolen the recoil off an edger that I got in a group of like three or four complete mowers, a rider, pressure washers, chainsaws, etc., etc. So I stole this off of a edger that needed a carb and a bowl. So let's try to put this thing back together. I've already started working on it. I had showed you I degreased the body initially. I went ahead and took the recoil off, carburetor and the tank, and I went through it again, degreased it, blasted it off with some hose water, and then used my air gun to dry it up. So that's where we are. Tank had been completely saturated in oil. I went through this thing. There was oil in the tank, which may have preserved it actually. That's shiny factory new. The pickup port here was full of oil. The gasket and the diaphragm was oily. I was able to separate the gasket from the original one. I'll show you why. If you remember my older videos on these, we're going to reuse this paper gasket. Reason being, these older carburetors tend to warp on the plastics, and so if you've got a thicker gasket set up, it's going to take up that difference. And I'll show you. Back here there tended to be a factory defect where there was a big gap here. This gap is more than any of the other gaps, and what would happen is it would start to leak air through here, and it'd change the air fuel ratio. So if you're doubling up on your gasket, you can actually see that this one's warped. You could see an air gap there just by visually looking at it. It's tight here, but you could probably stick a feeler gauge in there. So this is a good candidate to have this double up on the gasket. So that's that. So like I said, I did some prep work on this, cleaned it up. So what I'm going to do is use the original paper gasket. If you broke the original one and you couldn't salvage it, how this operates is you put the diaphragm down first on the metal, then paper on top. But since I didn't break the original one, it was so oily it separated, so I'm going to put that one down first, then the diaphragm, on top of it, and then the new paper gasket here. Kind of eyeballed the holes. We'll get one screw started, so that goes down. Like I said, I cleaned this up pretty good. grab my Phillips head and just get this one started. Geez, it's been about a year since I've done a Pulsa type carburetor. I've just been getting so many of the newer plastic engines in. Plastic carb, plastic tank, plastic recoil, plastic front end. So when we get this thing down, it needs more oil. I'm going to put more used oil in it. I'm not happy with the oil level. Then I've got some fresh recreational fuel to put in the tank. So we're going to just tighten these down, not all the way, just get them snug, and then I'm going to do a crisscross applesauce tightening pattern here. I'm just taking up the slack. Okay. Let's start on this corner. It doesn't matter where you go. So I'm going to give that a little turn, come back here, a little turn, up here to the front, little turn, back here, a little turn, and then the middle one, a little turn, come back here to this one, quarter turn, quarter turn, quarter turn, quarter turn, and then back to the middle one. One more go around. Snuggie, 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 snuggie. Okay, one more. I lied. Yep. Okay. Now we can continue. Dyno, what do you say we put the carb on? Oh, no, we'll talk about that in a minute, about the plug. Put in the governor / throttle linkage. I've got the spring. I'm going to put that on right now. Okay. What we need is the spacer here between the tank and the block. So I'll put that in. Grab the bolt that holds the carby. That's a 1/2 inch socket. Get that started. I won't tighten it down all the way because I gotta put a 10mm bolt here on the tank here on the front because it was missing, so I can steal that off of the edger that I'm pulling parts off of. Okay, so that's buckled up. Let's put the recoil on, the edger recoil. So am I forgetting anything? I don't think so. So let me just manipulate this thing. Get one started and just keep moving the tin till I get them all started. Okay. Move the wire into position, spark plug wire. There's a little channel for that to sit in. Okay. Let me get this one on this side, and then I have another 10 I'm going to steal for the tank 10. Hopefully the tank is not stripped out. Kind of get this one started. Okay, good. So basically what I did on the plug is I followed the same gap as the edger, because you remember the original plug here had barely any gap at all. So I mimicked what the edger had, because that's got a 3.5 horse. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to go around and tighten up the 4 10 millimeters, and then we'll do the 1/2 inch last right there. So where's my 10? Here we are. Same thing with these. I won't tighten them all down all the way. I'll just get them snug. Okay, this is coming along wonderfully. Okay, what else do we need to do? That's tight, that's tight. Plugs on tight, wires on, free and clear on the throttle. Oh, right here. The 1/2 inch on the carb. Okay, that's snug. Let me move some things off of it. We're gonna fuel it as it stands or sits, and then we're gonna drop it. Add some old oil just to make sure this thing's gonna fire off. Okay, so the air filter. I didn't bring out an air cleaner, but we're just gonna put this on without anything for right now. And I have the bolt for it. Okay, let me get gasolina. Okay, just under a half a tank. That's the cleanest tank I've worked on, I think, on these metal tanks. Usually they got pitting. Okay, I'm going to drop it down, get some used oil in it. Handle is still shaky. It's not tightened up, but it's going to work for now. Okay, I'm getting the oil. I don't want to get any oil on Dino's tail. So we're really close to testing this thing out. I heard a couple of plops when I was pouring. Hopefully it's not big globs of dirt. Use my shirt as a rag. Why not? Oh yeah, we're halfway at least, so that's enough to start. I still have that chopped up blade on it, so it's probably going to vibrate, and I know it's going to smoke because I saw some oil residue still in the muffler. I couldn't get it out. I noticed that when I was blasting water off the rest of the unit. Okay, it's priming. Fourth and fifth pushes, it was pushing fuel. Start install. Let me get a clip for the bail bar, just in case I've got to adjust the idle. One, two. One, two. just got a thumbs up from my neighbor for fog in the neighborhood. Took out like 600 mosquitoes. So I'm impressed with this. I figured it would have vibrated more than it did with that lopsided blade. We had a lot of muffler burn off, but that seemed to correct itself. Seemed to sound good. I'm impressed. Dino was keeping an eye on things. He's impressed too. So it's a yard machine / Murray. So totally happy with this thing. The only thing I gotta do, I forgot who was it that commented. You're right, these are only held on, this kind of system is held on with one nut and a couple of bent in prongs against the holes in the deck, which don't amount to shit. So he says he puts a second bolt, nut and bolt through here to keep this from moving. So we're almost there. Got bracket to work on. I got to order a blade. I don't think I've got a 22-inch blade like that. Just to see if it would start. So oil change too. So I'm impressed from how this thing came in the door. Handle down, recoil broken, covered with oil. I'm happy how it turned out. So I'm confident enough to go all the way with it, oil change and new blade. So I'll mess around some more with this. I had put some oil on the recoil spring and some of it had leaked out here. That's all that is. Okay, that's all I got for you. Thanks for coming out. As always, please tip your waitress and wait staff. They're doing an awesome job. We'll keep going this week with something else. If it wasn't for that scuff there, this thing would have been as good as new. But what can you do? You got to take it as it comes. I'll give you the all this stuff again down below. The Murray number, assembled in USA, McRae, Georgia. Fine people in Georgia took great care when they built this thing. Okay, adios.